We are the pride of Brisbane town. We wear the road blue and gold. We will always fight for victory. Like destroy and hold. All for one and one for all. We will answer to the call. Go Lions, Brisbane Lions. We'll kick the winning score. You hear a mighty roar. You hear a mighty roar. Woo! The fucking ripper!
Wow, what do we think about that, hey? What was that? What a kind of Frankenstein audio monstrosity that was. Well, that was me in various different amounts of sobriety and hungoverness and idea of what the hell was going on, singing the Brisbane Lions theme song across preliminary final week, grand final day, the wee hours of the next day, whatever you call that, post grand final day, and then finally ridiculously hungover down at Junction Oval, Brunswick Street Oval. Really, they used to be at Junction Oval once. They're at Brunswick Street Oval now. The Mighty Royce down at Brunswick Street Oval for trophy presentations. Oh, what a day that was! So yes, various different pieces of video converted into audio because I'm some kind of genius. No, I'm horrible with that technology. It takes me forever to do that conversion. Genius conversion from my phone, bits of random footage from my phone of me singing, rip them up, cut them up, put them onto that. Oh, it's a big day. I tell you what, a big day. I sung my ass off a lot of times and got ridiculously drunk. I'd like to say I caught up with a lot of people that I knew, blind supporters. I actually, in fact, barely saw anyone. Saw Wet Ham for freaking 10 minutes. And he didn't show up again. Saw a couple of guys at the start. They didn't show up again. Mostly it was just me walking down screaming at randoms for like 17 hours. But good days indeed. But yeah, you kind of wonder, like they do say, the players, where's their hunger to come back once they win the flag? Yeah, I'm a bit like that, to be honest. It's been 21 years since we won the flag, and yeah, probably a good 15 years of me having a hardcore hunger to win the flag again after 6 years of just basking in the triple premiership, and that's probably where I am at the moment, just basking in the premiership. Kind of going, well, I spent 15 years going, I really wish I could just get absolutely blind and watch the Lions win a flag and then spend the next day just being pissed off my nit, screaming at people about how good the Lions are and singing the Lions theme song and just drinking myself into a stupor and almost passing out on the ground. And I did it, and it was amazing. But, I do think, life is complete now. I've done that. I've been there. I watched my team win a flag. I got hilariously drunk. I yelled at everyone. I did a podcast on it for an hour and a half with, Lions supporters, Mr. DR, Mr. Amazing Bloke DR. Although, he's been a bit too many podcasts of late, but that's a irrelevant point. Likes talking to people, I guess. I like talking to... I don't really like talking to people. I like talking to me. I like talking to people who want to talk to me, but I'll pimp myself out. Anyway, point is, yeah, life is complete. I've done it. I almost can't even be bothered going back to be a football fan again. You've reached the Mecca. You go, why do I want to go back? I guess so. I guess I go back because this is what I do. Every year I watch football. Every year I follow the Lions. Every year I barrack for the Lions. I do like to see them winning. I'd like to see them win again. It's about time we won another game. And I got drunk again watching the footy, yelling at people. That would be fun. I'd quite like to go back and win the flag again. Would I say I'm super determined to go out and do it and super hungry? No, I feel like I've done it. And that's a giant tick that I can take off my bucket list. But yeah, it wouldn't be bad to do it again 2 or 3 more years in a row while we're still good. I guess once we go back to being crap, it could be another 15 years before we're good again. But yeah, enough about me and my quenched thirst for premiership glory. We'll talk about the Lions. Yeah, well, we've done a 90s profile of all the other teams, sort of a quick one of those ones. Yeah, I originally followed the Bears back in the day because I thought they were called the Teddy Bears when I was 3, and my dad was a big football supporter and pushed us all to pick a team. I think I've told that story before. Anyway, from there they were crap for a long time. until the mid 90s when we finally started getting good and winning finals. And then we merged out of nowhere with the crappiest team in history, which was about all I knew of Fitzroy, that they'd been crap for about 10 years and could barely win a game. So that was devastating. And then we were terrible for a long time. Well, not that long, probably 3 or 4 years before I started winning a few more finals. And then we won 3 flags, and it was amazing. And I just felt like it was going to keep rolling in. But then it didn't. And then we got Fev. And then we got Voss back. And then we sacked Voss. And then we got Lepper. And then we sacked Lepper. And I think we had someone else that we sacked in the meantime. But then Grandpa Fags come in. And he made it all right. It did take him about 10 years, I've got to say. But from 2019, it's a pretty good run. You feel kind of crappy when you win a lot of finals and don't win flags. But looking back, just winning games, considering that stretch we went through in the early 2010s, just winning games was fine. And even majority winning seasons is good. But winning flags is better. No doubt, no doubt. But I do like listening to Grandpa Fags. Could listen to his press conferences again. It's about time that year when you get back into listening to Fags' press conference. It's like your grandpa just telling you a story as you go to sleep. It's kind of the good way to end a week, is just to listen to Fags' press conference. But yeah, okay, that's probably enough about that, I guess. Let's jump into the fantasy relevance. The guns, we've got Zorko off the top, the most expensive, highest averaging guy. I really can't see him doing it again. He's old. He's going to be overvalued in draft. He's overpriced in salary. Coleman's going to come in. That role's going to be changed around. His calves might be a concern. Maybe they rest him. They thought they were going to rest him last year, but they didn't. But he's only getting older. So yeah, I wouldn't be jumping on him. But if he can show, I guess, early in the season that he's still got it, or in the preseason, if you're looking to draft him, yeah, then definitely get on. Dunkley is another one, undervalued in draft, not underpriced in Classic, but he has lost his forward tag. But we know what he can do. His consistency isn't there, but his ceiling is. So, yeah, if you can get him, I guess, in the second round in draft, that's a big steal. Another one, Neil. Neil is consistent, but he doesn't have that ceiling. So he's going to be your kind of low 100s guy, which is good. That kind of second or third round in the draft, when you're looking for that, that's handy. You probably wouldn't want it from a classic point of view, unless you want to bank some, safety points. But I don't know if I'd be doing that. McLuggage, fantasy underachiever, I'm going to say. I've had him a long time in keeper leagues, and he's never really popped. Every year you kind of look at him that mid-year as an upgrade target or a stepping stone. You go, yeah, he's pretty good. Maybe I'll get him as a pod or something, and it never really turns out. Handy guy for draft, I think. And then there's Cashcroft, Will Ashcroft, Norm Smith medalist Will Ashcroft, who's going to have a breakout season and absolutely dominate. So get on that, about 800 from your classic point of view. Don't know. He's a weird one from a draft point of view. Do you take him early? Do you hope that you can get him later and maybe lose him? Yeah, I don't know. I'd want to pay a middling price for him, but not overs. Tricky one. I don't know where he goes in the draft. I'm pretty sure I've overpaid for him or his brother in a few drafts. I don't know. That seems to be the way it goes. Talking about his brother, we'll jump to draft. They only took the 3 guys. Levi Ashcroft, who's an absolute gun, apparently better than his brother. It is going to be hard for him to break into this team because he's a midfield giant with 140 points in the VFL at one stage. He only played a couple of VFL games. He did dominate them. So it's going to be hard for him to break in. They reckon he might play off the half forward for a bit, but if he can get into the mid sooner or later, the big value there. Hard from a single season draft point of view, I think. You probably want to draft him late. Keeper league, obviously he's going to be a gun. Classic, yeah, I think he's cheap enough that he'll get enough game time that it's still going to be for Seal. They also took Marshall. He's apparently a slick, consistent midfielder. Big academy product, highly rated. Again, it's going to find it hard to break into the team, even more so than Levi, because he doesn't have the pedigree or the name. But, if they get some injuries, he could see a spot. I could see him clamping it down. They also drafted Gallup, who's apparently a tall forward prospect for the future. So he is absolutely irrelevant to fantasy points whatsoever, because we don't like tall forwards, especially kid tall forwards. Breakout's a tricky one. I'm going to go Cameron, because I think he's been crappy last couple of years. So I reckon he's going to come out with a point to prove. So that's good point from a draft point of view. Hipwood, yeah, there's the Danaher replacement, which is going to be interesting for guys like Hipwood, guys like Morris, and guys like Sam Day, which all offer some kind of value, but you've got to want a preseason watch and see who's doing what. I like Sam Day because you can pick him up late in a well, anything really, and he could potentially do that Joe Danaher role, which involves a bit of rucking, which we quite like. And then there's more value in that forward line. Again, we've got Rayner, who's a bit of a troll from a fantasy point of view, especially in keeper league. When anyone's got him, he's hard to drop, but also a really painful keep. Forget him in classic, but maybe he breaks out. I don't know. He did have a really good final series. If he can get some consistency, he could be good. Archie, Lohman, those guys are going to play slightly bigger roles. They had massive final series. If they can get some consistency again, good from the draft point of view, I would say. Andrews is going to plug your hole. From a draft point of view, he's always an average 50-60 guy as a defender. Good Supercoach player, I believe, but not so sure on that one. Devrob, well, if he can crack a go in the side, maybe. Would have been a good one if he could get traded. Don't know why I didn't get traded. It's going to be hard for him to do much. Berry's another tricky one. I cut him last year in a keeper league and it's burnt me. Burnt me for a long time. I just couldn't get over him, costing us the grand final in 2023. But now I feel kind of bad after I cut him for that. And then he, very emotional after the prelim about, redeeming himself, and then he did redeem himself, and he kicked that goal in the grand final, and then brought us back there, redeemed it for the flag, and I feel a little bit bad about blaming him for the loss of 23 and then cutting him. If I can get him back in a keeper league, I'll probably try to do that, but someone will know what I'm trying to do and try me overpay because they're all jerks. When you get karma, you run into jerks. There's a life story. Try to improve your karma, and you run into people who are just trying to take advantage of you. That's life for you, I guess. Anyway, where do I see the Lions sitting? Honestly, I think we could win it again. I'm not saying we will out and out win it, but I think they're a top 4 team. Although not having Joe is going to impact, I think, obviously. But yeah, I really don't know because it's like last year showed us how good we can be if everything goes right. But also at the start of the year, probably the first half of the year, how absolutely horrible a football team we can be if everything goes wrong. So, even if they just switch the halves of the year around and go gangbusters in the first half and then die in the arse in the second and have a billion injuries, then they'll be like 12th. So, yeah, really based on last year with the strengths and weaknesses of the team and the good and the badness, it could really be anywhere from like 12th to first by some margin. So, you don't know. Still, I'm going to back them in to be good. Impact of that Joe thing. So, no, yeah, top four. Bold predictions, I'm going to say Zorko goes sub 80, comes and regresses with the role and the potential of injury and the oldness and Coleman and whatnot. And then Coleman on the flip side comes out and goes 100 plus, showing no signs of injury and getting that role back. Smith tickety-boo. And Levi Ashcroft comes out. Well, this is probably going to be a slightly longer term one. And over the full length of his career becomes a better player than Nick Dacos, because Nick Dacos will soon start being crap. Well, I hope so. No one really likes Collingwood. He probably won't, but you never know. Speaking of things you never know, how good this podcast is going to be. You probably do know it's probably not going to be very good, but slightly longer one this time. But we did, profile my favourite team and the Premiers and obviously the best team in the league and probably the best team in fantasy. Maybe GWS is that, or one of the other teams like North. To be honest, I don't know, but certainly the most likable team in fantasy, I would say, and probably the best team in sports at anything ever. God, it's good to be the Premiers. It's just so good to just be trailing into a brand new season as the Premiers. I might go and watch the grand final. No, maybe the prelim or the semi. Not the elimination final. It's a bit of a walk in the park, and then we should have won it by more. But I think I'm going to go now and watch some finals and maybe some post-game press conferences of Fags. Grandpa Fags. What a guy. What a guy.